This video was made possible by a grant from the College of the Canyons Foundation and with the support of the Associated Student Government and the Department of Political Science at College of the Canyons.
I'm Phil Gusson, Professor of Political Science at College of the Canyons.
And I'm Sebastian Cáceres, President of the Associated Student Government for COC.
If you're watching this video, you already know that the machines that we're going to be using to vote in Los Angeles County recently changed. In fact, we'll be using the new machines for the first time in the upcoming election on March 3rd. Sebastian and I checked out the voting machines during a mock election held at College of the Canyons, and to be perfectly frank, we were skeptical that the new machines would substantially improve the voting process. We were wrong.
Definitely on both counts.
Our goal in this video is to familiarize the campus community and the community at large with the new system. To that end, we described the voting process in some detail. If you have any questions when you're done watching the videos, you can post them on the comments section on the YouTube page, and we'll do our best to respond.
When you walk into the polling place on election day, there'll be plenty of people directing you where to go. The first thing they'll do is make sure you're in the right line so that a poll worker can check you in. The poll workers will be sitting at tables with small computers right in front of them.
When you get to the front of the line, the poll worker will ask for your name to verify who you are and to ensure that you're registered to vote. Previously, poll workers had a book with the names of all registered voters, and when you gave them your name, they'd flip through the pages and look for you until they found you, and then they'd give you a pen and you would sign your name. The new system is so much more efficient. When you tell them your name, they look you up on their computer.
Now, if you have a unique name, when they look you up, just one name and address will appear on their screen. Then they'll turn the screen around and ask you to verify the information. If the information is correct, they'll give you a stylus, which is like a pen, and ask you to click on the accept button, which is clearly visible. Then they'll ask you to sign your name using the stylus. If your signature looks a little different than normal, don't worry. But if it turns out that there's more than one person with your exact name in Los Angeles County, then more than one name will appear on their screen. When I registered during the mock election, I was surprised because I thought I had a pretty unique name. Turns out there's another person in Los Angeles County with my exact name. Since there was more than one name on the screen, the poll worker asked for my address to determine which Sebastian she was talking to. Once she knew she had the right Sebastian, she turned the screen around, asked me to verify the information. I clicked on accept and signed my name with the stylus.
Prior to the adoption of the new system, after someone checked in, the poll worker would give everyone the same ballot and direct them to the correct voting booth. With the new system, after Sebastian signed in, the poll worker actually printed up a ballot, and then he could vote in any one of the voting booths.
The ballot had a QR code in the upper left-hand corner. A QR code is basically the same thing as a barcode that supermarkets use. The QR code does not include any personal information. It only includes information so that if there are any problems, they know where and when the vote was cast. It doesn't tell them who cast it, so your vote is completely anonymous.
Once a poll worker printed out the ballot, she handed it to Sebastian and directed him to the voting booths, where there was a computer secured on a table. To the right of the computer was something that looked like a tray where you feed paper into a printer, and then to the left of the computer was a device for people with disabilities to use.
To begin the voting process, I had to select my preferred language. So I pressed the white circle in the middle of the screen and a series of language options appeared. When I touched the English button, it changed colors, so it was easy to see that I made the selection.
And before Sebastian continues, if you don't see your preferred language on the screen, just click on the dark button. It's a semicircle on the bottom of the screen. It says More. Other options will appear, and once you select your preferred language, just click Next.
Also, if you look in the upper left-hand corner of the screen, you'll see an icon that kind of looks like gears. When you click on it, it allows you to change the settings on the screen. For example, you can increase the size of the letters so they're easier to see. Or you can change the background so that instead of it being white and letters being black, you can switch it so that the background is black and the letters are white.
That's one of the cool things about the new voting system. Rather than there being one ballot for everyone, each person can adjust things to fit their particular needs or preferences. And if you have a problem with the settings, don't worry. You can always ask for help from one of the poll workers.
Once you've selected the language you want, just place the ballot on the tray with the printed side facing up and gently slide it into the slot. Once the paper is in the correct position, you'll see a green light and the machine will take your ballot. At that point, you'll get a confirmation message on the computer screen, ballot loaded.
When the ballot is loaded, two options will appear on the screen. I want to start voting, and I have a poll pass to scan. If you press I want to start voting, it'll begin to show you the candidates and the propositions on the ballot. Sebastian is going to explain the second option at the end of the video. When Sebastian clicked on "I want to start voting," there was a screen indicating how many things he'd be voting on in the mock election. When he pressed next, he could start making his selections. And the setup for each voting decision was structured the same way. The top screen showed whatever Sebastian was voting on.
Now, there may be more candidates than are visible on the first screen. The More button allows you to move up and down the list so you can see the names of all of the candidates. Depending on how many candidates are running, there may be multiple pages, so you may have to press More a few times. But you're not restricted on the candidates on the list. At the bottom of the list, there's a place for you to type the name of a write-in candidate.
At the top of the screen, you'll also see how many candidates you're allowed to vote for. For example, when we vote for mayor, it'll say vote for one at the top of the screen, since we're only allowed to vote for one candidate. But depending on the office, we may be able to vote for multiple candidates.
For example, during the mock election, we were allowed to vote for up to 3 candidates to be unified school district board members. In the upper left-hand corner, it says vote for no more than 3. When I selected the first candidate, the upper right-hand corner indicated I had 2 selections left. Then I selected a second and third candidate, but suppose I changed my mind after making my third selection. I couldn't just click on the name of a different candidate because I was only allowed to vote for 3, and the program has no way of knowing which candidate I decided not to vote for. So I had to deselect one of the choices before I could select someone else. But I didn't have to vote for 3 candidates. If I only wanted to vote for one candidate, I could make one selection and click Next. And if I didn't want to vote for any of them, I could just click Skip and keep voting. After you've gone through the entire ballot and cast your final vote, you'll see a screen that says Let's Review. If you press Next, it'll show your responses to the first set of questions, so you can review it for accuracy. Pressing the More button will allow you to see subsequent pages on the ballot.
Not only can you review the ballot, you can change your selection.
To show you how this works, I changed my vote for mayor from the review screen. So I clicked on Change, and it brought me back to that part of the ballot. I selected a different candidate and then clicked on Save. That brought me right back to the review screen.
Once you're sure your selections are correct, press the Next button. At that point, you'll be asked if you're ready to print your ballot. If you want to review the answers again, you can press the Back button to return to the review screen. But if you're done, press Yes, I'm ready to print, and then press Print in the lower right-hand corner of the screen.
This will print out your completed ballot on the tray where you originally entered it, just to the right of the monitor, kind of the same way that when you purchase something, it prints out a receipt. If you print your ballot and realize that you made a mistake, you can always bring the printed ballot back to the poll worker and ask for a new one.
You never have to submit a ballot that does not accurately reflect your preferences.
Once your ballot comes out of the printer, the screen will read Insert Ballot to Cast. If you're sure it's accurate, put the completed ballot back on the tray, slide it in, and it will take your completed ballot.
When the printer took the ballot, I assumed Sebastian was done voting. His ballot was gone.
I thought I was done too, but there's actually one more step. After the printer takes the ballot, the screen will ask if you want to cast your ballot now. You have to press Cast Your Ballot Now for it to be officially cast. At that point, the screen will notify you that it is placing your ballot into the ballot box and confirm when the ballot is officially cast. And at that point, you're done. The only thing left to do was to get my I voted sticker on the way out.
As we noted earlier in the video, there's a new way to vote that people who are familiar with using apps on smartphones may want to consider. If you plan on voting in person, you can stop watching the video now, or if you're curious, you can learn about a new way to vote.
If you recall, at the beginning of the voting process, before I started voting, there were 2 options. I want to start voting and I have a poll pass to scan. The second option, I have a poll pass to scan, is probably for people who are familiar with using apps. Here's how it works. With the new voting system, anyone with a smartphone can actually make their selections before going to the polling station. So if you're looking over election material at home and deciding how to vote, you don't have to fill out a simple ballot and bring it with you when you vote. You can make your selections on your phone and then save them. When you're done, it will create a poll pass with a QR code right on your phone. You can also do the same thing on a computer, and when you're done, print out a QR code. When you go to the polling station, you still have to sign in, verify who you are, and get a ballot printed. But when you go to the voting booth, you select your language, place your ballot in the tray, and click on I have a poll pass to scan. Then click Next, scan the QR code either on your phone or the printed copy just below the tray, and it will automatically upload your selections on the screen.
Now, just to be safe, double check your ballot to make sure it matches how you want to vote.
If it does, you can submit your ballot using the same method we described earlier in the video. And if you want to practice using the poll pass, go to the following webpage right here.
As I said at the beginning of the video, Sebastian and I were both skeptical that Los Angeles County could create an efficient, easy to understand, accessible voting system. We were both impressed with the new system and believe you will be as well.
Thank you so much for watching this video. If you have any questions, post them on this YouTube page. But the most important thing
is to vote, please. Thanks.